We all just look a bit sad, actually. I just looked like there was too much sun in my eyes.
Were you checking out deodorant on there, Tel?
No, I was doing my Faith album cover type thing. Was it Faith? I think it was Faith. Yeah.
Was that not where he was standing against the wall? Let's not go there because Fiona's in the room.
Is this
No, I
how
think that was for the single,
how
but for the
you can get up the wall?
No, sorry, you're breaking up. Yeah,
That sort of competition. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to the oddest start of audits that we've ever had. It's because we've got no normals with us. We've got nothing to.
You don't have to behave.
Welcome to audits. Why don't you be positively positive? Ready for your bus, Terry? It's the number 312.
Ding ding.
Seeing showing how old he is. Ding ding.
I've got some questions though. I've got some questions.
Jeez, wow.
Being positively positive, we can talk about the benefits and the whys and how-tos if they come out. I want to know, is our industry basically is it based on fault finding? Terry.
You really need to answer that?
I want you to answer it.
Okay, absolutely. Of course it is, yeah.
Tell me
Because at the end of the day, there's an assessment at the end, isn't there? And so we've got to be good for the assessment. And if you're not doing it right, I've got to tell you what you're doing wrong.
And we reinforce it from part 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, it's all reinforced in my training we get. Find the fault, fix the fault. And the only way to fix the fault is to inform them what they've done wrong and give them a way to fix it. Yeah.
No, you can make it pretty by making it a praise sandwich.
Oh, you could use a praise sandwich, couldn't you? But then I'd have to stab you. So, yeah.
Oh.
Well, we've got to bring it up because I still hear a lot of people talk about it. And even if they don't call it a praise sandwich, they talk about the same process. Well, I always give a compliment or two as well.
Yeah,
if I dress it up nicely, it won't be so bad.
That means so much to people, doesn't it? When we say, "Oh, that was good," means the world.
It's just the other bits.
Cool. Sorry, go on.
No, it's just the other bits that are horrible. They're the only bits I focused on ever. Go on, Terry.
I think it's just going to say. I think it's not much easier, but it's easier for people to be negative than it is to be positive, especially when you're looking at a fault.
Especially, absolutely.
And I think it's just, I don't know if this is the right word to use, but I'm going to use it because it's a long word. And if it is the right word to use, it makes me sound clever. So, ready for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I pronounce it properly.
Hi, Sedna.
I'll wait for that, Sedna.
Hi.
It's indoctrined in our industry.
Indoctrinated?
I don't know. Is that the right word to use? I have no idea.
Indoctrinated.
It's long, why not? Give it a go.
No. Or possibly indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated. That's an even longer word. Should have used that one.
Well,
one of you two clever people will tell me if that's the right word to use or not.
It's just part of.
Can I use a nasty word?
We have got a caveat. We do have the caveat about it being adult content, adult anything.
Because I think indoctrinated would be good. A good way of describing it. What would be a horrible way of describing it is we were groomed to use faults and base our lessons on faults.
Yeah. Oh, groomed. That's a little harsh.
You know what you're saying. No, as important thing is we know what you mean. You mean, yeah.
Well, it's a similar kind of subversive thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, it is. It's but the thing about being groomed is you have have no concept that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, we really
Well,
should.
when I qualified, I didn't.
Yeah, this is because I'm actually thinking about the groomed and where the original wording comes from, and my head's gone down that route, and it really shouldn't. So the praise sandwich, is it positive? Some people will still say it is, and
Well,
I agree.
I would say the first time you use it, yes.
Well, the first
Explain yourself, young man.
The first time you use it with an individual, they might take something positive away. But the next time you use it with the same individual, they're waiting for the but.
Mm.
They're waiting for the but in the middle.
I don't know if I've ever told you about an old boss of mine. Back in my tennis coaching days, way back, I was like, just left school, I think. I had a boss at a local council, and he was the master of the praise sandwich. So what I learned was, when he's saying something good about me, I don't go, yeah, oh good, I'm doing a great job. I'm thinking, oh shit, what have I done now? Just used it all the time.
Yeah. Isn't it awful when a pupil does that? When you're driving,
Yeah,
and you pull them over on the left, and they say, "What have I done now?"
yep.
It's not a very positive environment.
No, unfortunately not.
So our industry is based on fault. It's what our part 3 is based on. Part 2, learner test, standards check. It's all you're losing points all the time. Oh, Ian.
That's how we are assessed at what we do.
Yeah.
Does it mean we should be training like that?
Exactly. So what's the issue there then?
Well, Terry's going to tell us that, isn't he?
I was distracted by Sadness Dot.
Sadness light bulb. Leave her alone. That's her.
Yeah, thank you.
It's her.
My brain.
It's on the
By
ceiling.
by the
okay.
evening, by the evening, my brains are all not there.
That's
It's
okay.
worked too hard the whole day.
Yes. No. Well, our brains. I mean, our brains are addled all day. But there you go.
Sorry, I got distracted. What was the
It
question?
doesn't mean we should train that way just because the scoring system is that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Our assessment of our ability to drive a car test assessment. We still call it a test. They call it an assessment. I've got a question for you both.
No, I'm busy. I can't make it. Sorry.
Right. No, because I've put these things in some sort of order.
Bloody hell.
Preparation, proper preparation and planning prevents pretty poor performance.
If we talk about
Thank you, Granville.
so this whole thing is about positivity. I'm going to ask you what I can mute everyone, you know.
All right, we can all leave.
Come on, keep it positive, people.
That was positive.
I'll positively leave. Absolutely.
Mm.
Right. Oh, now the train has
You've
left.
got a question. You've got a question.
Do you have the question? I've got it written there. I can see the question. We're talking about positively being positive, and you know, we will talk about what that is and what it means. But what happens, because if we disarm people, which is what it sounds like we're doing, if we disarm people and we disarm an ADI and they feel like they can't point out the faults, we get uncomfortable with that. Yeah, but that's our job. We've got to tell them. We've got to tell them that they're doing it wrong. So what happens, Terry, if we don't point out the faults?
Well, it's not that you're not pointing out the faults. That's not what we're talking about. It's how you approach pointing out the faults. So I'm just going with what traditionally happened, and I had a PDI this afternoon and this morning actually. And one of the sessions, they were looking at faults, and they're just so quick. It's like, well, if you do that, you could die. One of the things he said, that's right. Is it first session with me? That's
if they're watching now, I've just laughed. Now I feel bad.
I've not named the person. You will die. You know, it's a bit like Ravon from Phoenix Nights. Keep your hands inside, or you die. We're not saying ignore the faults. Of course we're not, because you've got to help this person, and you've got to help them drive safely. But instead of pointing out the faults, and I think Fiona did it perfectly in her
A prequel.
her previd. What do you call it?
Prequel.
Premuse.
Premuse to this
Rod Hull, isn't it?
Huh?
Rod Hull had a preview.
I'm used to now.
I know.
That it's how you approach the fault, and it's how you. I think it's how you look at it that's really important. Because if you look at it as a bad thing, then it's very difficult for you then to turn it around in what you're doing and what your thoughts are and what you're saying. If you see it as an opportunity to learn something as the trainer or the instructor, then I think it comes out that way as well. So it's how you perceive what's happened. So it's just ask a question around what's happened. So how do you feel about that? What would happen if you did, whatever it is?
You might die.
What?
You might die.
And it's not trying to fix them.
Yeah.
I think, like we keep saying, we're all serial helpers. That's why we're in this job. And we're all really quick to jump in and, what's the mistake? Quick, I can help with that because I know the answer and I know how to fix it for you because I'm the expert and I'm really good at helping people and I'm really good at spotting mistakes people make. And that's great, fantastic. You've got those skills, but then it's how we bridge that gap from what they're doing to what they should be doing, and asking questions around what they expect to happen, what they'd like to happen, what they expect from other people, how they want other people to behave, and to just show me that. And like you did on your preview.
That was some days ago, and I might have forgotten it. Oh yes, it was the full license holder.
Yeah, it's like, well, go and show me that driving. Go and show me it. Like often I get questions from PDI. So, well, look, they've messed up a maneuver. They've done no observations. How can I not say something? How can I not point out their mistake, their fault? Otherwise, they're going to fail the test. So, okay, look, we'll ask them what a 10 out of 10 observation looks like on a parallel park. Don't even mention they've not done it.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And if they don't know, you can fill in a few gaps. You say, well, okay, show me 10 out of 10. Fantastic. 10 out of 10 of observation. Brilliant. And that's They don't even know that the observation was rubbish before. They might not even know the observation was great before. But the learning has taken place.
Yeah, I've asked a question about a thing.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like what you're saying. There's also there's all sorts of ways of doing that, isn't there, with the observation. One of my favorite ones was, watch that person there. What do you think? What do you think? And they go, oh, they're not looking around. They're not looking around. And then you don't have to wait long in a car park, do you, to see that happen?
No.
And then it's that kind of acquired skill it's just effortless because it's observed best practice rather than us trying to put something in.
Yep. You got the same question for Ian, yeah?
Yeah, same question for Ian. He's forgotten what it was, and I'm not going to tell you.
Sorry, my internet's bad at the moment.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
I don't know. Do we do it? Started singing Barbara Ann, so.
Why do we do it? Why are we focused on the things that haven't worked, the few things that haven't worked, instead of the things that are all going well?
The question was, what happens if we don't point out the faults?
People get better.
No, but it makes an ADI uncomfortable, or a PDI. It makes us
yeah, I get that because that's not generally well, it's not the way I was taught to do it. I wasn't taught to do it till about, what was it, 10, 15 years ago when we first met?
Yeah, about 15 years. Jesus.
Oh. Yeah.
You know, and I for one, if I hadn't learnt that way, I was so fed up with the whole damn thing, I wouldn't be sat here now pretending I know what I talk about. You know, I was fed up with being one of those ADIs.
I was fed up with the lack of results. It just wasn't working.
I was all ready to chuck it in and do something less boring instead.
That was a nice tie-in. I was just thinking.
Link number 97.
I was just thinking, because that's why I laughed. I didn't mean to. Because 10, 15 years ago, that was when I lyed my hair.
I get that. Very clever.
I just thought of it, and it did.
Keep it positive, people. Keep it positive, even in times of distress and severe pressure.
Benefits of positive environments. And I was just thinking, there are loads of ways. There are loads of ways to get people to think about, or to get people to, like you said, Terry, you can just ask the question about the thing in a way about just asking, like you said, what would 10 out of 10 observations look like? Because it's not pointing out on anything. It's just asking what better practice would be like.
I think there's still, obviously, at some point, we have to do everything. If you say that doesn't make any sense, so you can wipe that bit out when you're editing.
Oh, it made perfect sense to me.
There are times when we might need to tell somebody they're just completely oblivious to what's happened and their part in it happening.
Yeah.
And telling is still an important part of what we've got to do, but it's not the only thing we can do to help people understand what they can do better.
Right. Another question then. I totally agree. I'm just thinking about the time's already o'clock.
Oh my God, man.
What are the benefits of having a positive environment? Because we might have to, I don't know, we might have to think about other stuff later.
The learning takes place. The learner's going to feel confident. The learner's going to come back to you. The learner is going to recommend you to others because of the goodness they see in you as an instructor, teacher, and good rapport. But at the same time, you are firm and strict when it comes to safety of the car, risk management.
Yeah.
Mm.
You both changed your voices. Thank you, Sadhna. Yeah, boom, boom.
Mm.
What about the benefits to the instructor, though, of creating that positive environment?
Mm.
Huge.
Huge.
We learn.
We learn. Well, what do we all want when we go home?
Money.
The satisfaction of our
Yeah.
Money.
yes, no, we're not talking about that, Ian. You can have it later.
Whiskey. Beer. Food.
Do you know, Fiona, let me share a story of myself. 20 odd years ago, there used to be BSM offices, AA offices in town. And so I made an appointment to go and have an interview to say, I'd like to be trained by yourself. So I made an appointment, went there, and there was me and this other gentleman there. The lady asked me a few questions and she turned me down. She says, this job is not for you. There's a lot of studies to do. My kids were young at the time, 2 and 5, and she goes, no, I don't think this job will be for you. So she just let me go. And all these years, I wanted to prove her wrong.
Oh,
I really wanted to prove her wrong. And I didn't even have a car, really. So luckily, after some patience, I have done my homework. I did my research, what's involved and everything. And luckily, this trainer who trained me advertised and says he's looking for local instructors. But before he takes me on, he was going to interview me. He was going to check my knowledge on hazard perception theory. My practical was naff. I needed a lot of help with driving, although I passed at the age of 17. But yeah, it was a struggle, a big struggle. But I got there. And you may notice the reasons why I try to advertise a lot when my PDIs are passing, just to show off to this lady to say, look, they're passing. And people may think I'm showing off, but no, I'm just proving some of these directors wrong to say, no, they're passing.
But this is the problem with negativity. It is long lasting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Seth. It really is. So positivity benefits us in so many ways. Because one of the things that made a difference to me, and I really don't remember where I heard it, but a mistake is just information. Have that conversation with somebody. It's just information.
Yeah.
It's up to you how you
data to be processed. That's all it is.
Just data, and it's interesting. And that was interesting. That was useful information. And if you start to call it, there's some information there. Sometimes if you, what information do you get from that? If you just change words, it can change things drastically. But the benefits of positivity are, I'm going to say some of the things and then see what you guys add, but it's constructive, not destructive. And Sadhna had a really good description there of how destructive it is. And umpteen years later, when you're training your own PDIs, you're still fighting the criticism that you had back then. So it's constructive. But if you do strive to keep it positive, it allows patience. Because if you're thinking about it, and if we change our practices, we become more patient, and everybody becomes more empathetic. And with that kind of empathy, when you're free to mess up and you're free to make mistakes, and it's just information, how much benefit is that going to be for anyone's learning? This is a Terry thing. Terry, tell me.
Mind your language.
Yeah. Tell me about. Well, I know this of you. Tell me about stress, please. Feeling stressed, when a learner is feeling stressed. Tell me about the learning brain function.
The learning when you're stressed.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. Because they're stressed. The emotions get in the way of the neurons in the brain and don't connect, and the pathways aren't created. There has to be a sense of hope or optimism, any of those kind of words you want to use for learning to take place. If there is not a sense of hope and optimism when you're learning something, you cannot learn it.
The stress hormones actually don't allow learning. They're fight or flight, aren't they? Fight, flight, freeze, and flock. That's what stress hormones are designed to make a human do. And then we go into this tunnel vision. How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? And a stressed environment, I mean, that's extreme, but that's what the negativity causes. And it's laid down as permanent memory. Sadness is a brilliant example. Going to keep mentioning it. But memory is laid down in two different ways, and it's laid down, and the strongest ones have a strong emotional connection. The strongest memories are the ones that are attached to a very strong emotion. Rejection is magnificent. Rejection really does make a difference, and that's what a positive environment doesn't allow for. It doesn't allow that negativity. That's the hope anyway. So people are free. It's 6 minutes past, Terry. Are you all right for a few?
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
yeah.
We can just carry on the rest of this, because so if someone's feeling that this environment is positive, and if they realize that if it doesn't go quite to plan, what will happen for their next attempt?
They could die.
That was brilliant. Love that. I was hoping that someone might say they're more willing to have another go, because it's just like, oh, have another go.
I'm on the wrong track then.
Yeah. No, but you know that machine at the arcade, that claw thing.
Then the thing about this also is, sorry, I interrupted. We spend, and let's just say round number 40 hours with this person, and we spend the majority of those 40 hours explaining what they've done wrong, how can they, why they shouldn't do it, and just how you do it better. The old see it, say it, sorted stuff. And then we're surprised when they're nervous going for the test. You just spent the last 40 hours pointing out all the faults they're making in a nice way. And now we expect you to go to your test with positivity. Doesn't work. Don't work.
I've told you everything you need to know, Terry.
Say again?
I've told you everything you need to know. You'll be fine.
Exactly, you'll be fine. I wouldn't let you drive my car unless you're going to pass. You told me I was shit last week.
And the week before.
Yeah. Who's telling you that? Oh, sorry, you're talking about learners. Sorry.
Done that round about 17 times because I'm rubbish at it.
But you're 17 times better than when you were rubbish.
Yeah. Calm decision making happens without that stress. So the learning is different, as I made Terry tell me that he's forgotten he told me that ages ago. Well, I suppose it wasn't new to me, but he pointed it out in a conversation, Terry. But calm decision making. If we encourage people to make calm decisions and ask them positive questions about information or situations, they're more likely, because it's calm and they're used to it, they are more likely to continue that in their future, whenever they're driving. Calm decision making comes from a calm environment in the first place. We need to initiate that early because it's hard. It's hard driving post-test with all that stress and peer pressure, tailgaters, and I'm late. It's really hard. So calm decision making, if we can do that, and that self-management, it's really going to benefit them later on. And I think it is going to make us feel better.
It's just a better environment, you know.
More fun.
More fun.
Right. So this means, Terry and Ian, you're no longer allowed to be sarcastic. You're not allowed to yell. You're not allowed to be impatient. Come on. I told you this last week. Not allowed to ignore it when people are feeling anxious. Or tell
is just a quick question, Fiona. Is that in my private life as well as me public persona? In which case, I might be getting divorced if I make all those changes.
Well, you're not going to get any support from me because that's how it comes across, isn't it? High pressure. People don't learn in high pressure environments, and that's what it is. When we're pointing, what can you remember about learning to drive, either of you?
Being hit by a truck 24 hours before my driving test at a red traffic light in the pouring rain in Southport.
Very strong memory because you had a strong emotional reaction. Ta-da! I remember getting stuck behind a bus on St Albans High Street. I remember the reversing round a corner. And I remember my first driving test. Can't remember the one I passed. What's going on?
I tell you my story.
No, Sadhna.
In the 80s, 87, I only had 15 hours of lessons and my instructor decided I'm ready for a test. Not having done bay parking, reverse, the only maneuver he made me do was left reverse around the corner. Forget the parallel parking, that wasn't even taught.
No,
but yet I was ready for a test, he says. Anyway, went for a test, not one, but two examiners came out. The chief examiner sat at the back. The one examining me was at the front. And I just did everything that I thought. I don't even think my mirrors were correct. Towards the end, come back. And the examiner goes, okay, I'd like to see how you can reverse park in a bay. I'm asking him, what's a bay? What is a bay? He goes, see those lines over there, can you park in one of those? And I haven't got a clue how I did it. I just went forward once and then corrected myself. A note was passed from the back with chief examiner to the main saying, pass her. Where the guy who was sitting next to me was going to fail me. But yeah, that's mine. And I remember my left reverse around the corner was a bit wide, but I still passed. I kept them safe, brought them back.
There you go.
Not much was explained. I learned so much while becoming an instructor, which annoys me where not a lot was explained then, which is sad.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I've got a story. Do you want me to do it as a musing? I'll do it as a muse. I do have a story.
If it's really quick,
No. I'll do it
A
as a
pre-muse or
I could
a
do a part two.
post muse.
A post-muse.
I'll do
Okay.
a post muse. When
Are we done with this, or are we doing another one on these?
Well, I don't know.
We could do another one.
We'll do another one on
Finish
this.
it off.
Because I think we've just really scratched the surface on this. Really.
Yeah, I think giving some more methods to keep it positive would be good.
Mm.
So
So maybe we do, huh?
being positively positive.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. That's all. So we'll talk about it.
Let's do that.
I know when it is. Viewer. Tuesday, the 27th of May, same thing, 6:30. 6:30 is when we aim to start, but then Terry's here. Anyway, thank you to everybody.
See you for part 2, peeps.
See you for part 2, and we'll find out what it's called. Strike a pose. Thank you.